So we're here today at Orchard Close in Watton, at a time when many families, households all around Norfolk and the country are paying ever-increasing heating bills, at a time when Britain needs to reduce its energy dependency on regimes around the world like Russia, Saudi Arabia and others so we can be more sustainable, when we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint. Here we have a success, a Norfolk company developing a heat exchange system to allow us to heat houses far more cheaply than under the old gas and oil boiler system, putting it in place in old housing, delivering huge savings for the tenants, huge growth for us here in Norfolk as a growing company, and offering us as a public sector the chance to pioneer technology and save us all money. Guy, thank you for showing it to me.
Pleasure.
Talk us through, what have we got here?
So we have 30 flats in Orchard Close, all of which were previously heated by electric storage heaters. Very expensive for tenants, and a lot of the time we find that actually the tenants just simply turn their heating off at night time because they can't afford to heat them. Flagship, being a very thoughtful company, have come to us and asked us to provide a cheaper, more carbon effective system, and we've installed a ground source heat pump district heating scheme to meet all of the heating and hot water needs of Orchard Close.
And just talk me through, this is a system, for those who aren't expert, you pump water down into the deep ground, pick up the heat that's down there, the water comes up warmer than it went down, and then in a heat exchanger you take that heat out and distribute it around these houses.
That's absolutely correct.
Where's the deep underground bit?
So the boreholes which we use to install this are actually put on the car park area just across there where you can see the block paving. We actually arrived when the boreholes looked exactly as they are at the moment, pulled some of the paving stones up, drilled down roughly 160 metres down into the ground.
160 metres?
160, yes. Linked those together via a manifold chamber in the corner of the close, and then brought those 16 boreholes back to this plant room here. And we're pleased to say that actually after the installation, the area looks exactly the same as it was before we started.
What happens in here?
So inside here we have two Lampoasa 60 kilowatt ground source heat pump systems. The boreholes are brought into here, and as Mr. Freeman says, essentially inside you have a heat exchanger linked to a refrigeration circuit that enables the latent water coming inside to boil the refrigerant.
Can you see the kit in here? There's some pretty sophisticated equipment.
So once you have a boiling gas refrigerant that's compressed by scroll compressors which represent the heart of the system, and that generates heat. Roughly on an effective ground source heat pump system you should expect to get about 3.5 to 4 kilowatts of heat for every 1 kilowatt of electricity that you put in. It's that enables us to deliver the huge savings to the tenants, and also of course which results in the enormous reductions in carbon emissions from systems like this.
So you showed me some of the numbers. The average tenant in these houses used to rely on an electric storage heater.
Correct.
That takes electricity during the night when it's cheap,
Yep.
stores it and releases it when they turn the button.
Yes, that's
How
the
much are
theory.
they saving individually?
The tenants will be now paying costs of roughly 1/3 of what they were paying before. And that actually is able to be set at a level where essentially they can use as much heat all the way through the day and the night, summer and winter, as they wish, without incurring any extra costs.
I've just been looking at the numbers. That's roughly on average in properties like this, about £120 a month people would have been paying to heat their houses, now paying £40 a month.
Absolutely right.
How does it work for the landlord in this case, the housing association? They have to fund this expensive kit. How do they recoup their costs?
So one of the phrases that we talked about before is that something like this really is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer because, to start with, the actual cost of generating the heat to the landlord is less than they're charging it to the tenants, by about 25 to 30% less than they're charging it. So they are able to make a sustainable ongoing profit. But of course the government has put in place the renewable heat incentive. In this instance it's the non-domestic renewable heat incentive that applies to a community heating system. That allows Flagship Housing, which are the body behind this, to get all of the money that they've invested in this back within a period of 10 years. Now that period of 10 years compares to the life of the heat pump system of 30 to 35 years, which means that this plant will happily carry on delivering reliable, low-cost, low-carbon heating to all of these people for 30, 35 years.
So this is really a no-brainer. You're saving the tenants money, you're saving the landlord, in this case a housing association, money. The capital cost up front, they can repay from the small margin on much lower cost to their tenants and the help of the renewable heat incentive.
Absolutely.
Absolute no-brainer. Why isn't this going into every new housing estate, every development in the country?
I think probably one of the greatest reasons is just lack of knowledge. Although this technology has been around in the UK since 1945, there's still relatively little deployment of it. There are still relatively few companies that are actually at the level of expertise of ourselves. I think part of the reason for that is that there have been barriers put in place in terms of relatively complex legislation, but also we are seeing uncertainty in the market because I think people are concerned that things like the renewable heat incentive may be prematurely withdrawn. As projects like this do take, I'm sure you can understand, some time to plan and to implement, the concern of people like Flagship would be that they may be halfway through the implementation process, investing their money, only to find that actually the renewable heat incentive is withdrawn and they don't get their money back.
So you need us in government and me as your MP to do several things. One, promote this technology so that people understand.
Absolutely so.
Two, continue with the renewable heat incentive.
And give certainty.
And give certainty so that people in those houses aren't thinking, well, the RHI is about to be canned,
Correct.
so the model won't work.
Absolutely.
Three, encourage people to realise, why would you want to have a boiler that might break down when you've got this, which is warranted? And encourage housing associations to go for this technology, not the old technology.
Absolutely so. We are so concerned about the very real problem of tackling our carbon emissions. When something like this works totally effectively, it is, as you rightly said, a benefit to everybody. And the impact on the carbon from heating and hot water is to reduce emissions by at least 2/3, probably closer to 3/4.
Done.
And of course, heating and hot water represents one of the biggest causes of emissions in the United Kingdom. We could tackle it almost in one fell swoop if only this was adopted.
So there you have it, a brilliant Norfolk company employing currently 40, 50 people here in Attleborough. When I'm done, I want them to be employing 400, 500, 5,000. We should be developing this technology, rolling it out through public sector procurement, taking it global. This is a company developing technology for the 21st century, and we in government have got to make it easier for you to get it rolled out. It's a win-win for the tenants, a win for government, a win for the country. Thank you for showing me.
We'd absolutely agree. Thank you.